All you want to make for Christmas is this. It's time! Hey there, and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. My name's Thomas. This cutie here is Holly. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make this super cute twinning pom-pom dog head. So many people have asked me throughout the years how to make those beautiful dog pom-pom hats, and the time has finally come. You can now make your own pom-pom dog head for your own pup. They are just the cutest accessories for dogs, perfect for holiday pictures, for fun, for joy, and it makes everyone laugh with that cute little pom-pom on top. Join in, have fun, and let's get to it. It's time! So, before we get started, there's a few things you need to know. The pattern I'm doing, I basically created it with Holly's head, of course. My model always has to be a sample for me, and so this size of the hat basically would fit a Frenchie hat. I would also say that it should fit for pugs and similar sized dogs. Of course, if you make your own dog a pom-pom dog head, you always have to make sure, if you want to have a hole for the ears, how big it's going to be, and of course when you have like a bigger dog, you have to increase the amount of stitches for each round. The good thing is, when you do it for your own dog, it's easy to measure the head or to put it on the head just to see whether the direction is right or not. And please do that. That's the advantage we have, that we can take a look at how it would look like on the dog's head. And let's be careful, don't use those hats for like daily walkings or something like this. This is purely a fun accessory that you can use for Instagram pictures or videos. There's not really a functionality behind it, so I'm just pointing this out, and feel free to do it, but don't let it on your dog's head. Trust me, when they are not used of having things on their head, they will probably just shake it off. Shake it off, shake it off. Which is all right. Dogs are not supposed to wear hats, so this is just a fun gimmick, and that's what we're going to do today. Shake it off, shake it off. Let's start with the things you need. First up, the yarn. It's the same yarn that I used for the previous project. I'm going to write everything down in the description. You need 1 skein of the red yarn and 1 skein of the white yarn. Up next, your crochet hook, 4 millimeters. A yarn needle to finish your project. Of course, some scissors. And for the pom-pom, for this tutorial, I'm going to use one of those pom-pom magic makers. I bought it last time in France in a yarn store, and it was just €2 or something like this, so I thought I'd take it. It's always good to have some additional stuff for crochet work at home. If you don't have a pom-pom maker, you can always use the toilet paper as shown in the previous tutorial. Let's get to it. So to get a better understanding about how this human pom-pom translates to a doggy pom-pom, basically, there's some things I have to tell you first. For this big pom-pom here, the human one, we used a total of 60 stitches and then changed the yarn color from red to white after 42 stitches, and then the rest of the 18 stitches were done in white. So to achieve this, we have to do the same thing for the doggy one, but of course in a much smaller size. I created a sample. It looks like this. So this is basically already the doggy size, and I did this mainly because of this part here, which is the part for the ears. As you know, Holly, as a Frenchie, has like very prominent ears, so of course I wanted to have them stick out, like on both sides, as you can see here. Don't get it mistaken when you take it like this. It's not what you're thinking. So the difficult part here is to like leave the space for the ears, which is basically done by this flap, as you can see here maybe, that at one point we then just we just crocheted the lower part of the pom-pom head, and then once we have enough space between the ears, we can then move along or continue with the full length. This one here has a total length of 30 stitches, and in order to achieve the two-color tonality of the Santa hat, we are going to do 20 stitches in red and then 10 stitches in white. So I would recommend you always to make like a sample or a swatch to see how it works. You can also like take some yarn and put it around the head to see what size you would need, especially also for the length, so that it works. And the same goes for the space between the ears. I mean, when your dog doesn't have like those prominent ears, the space could be much smaller, for example. Or if the ears are flat and not standing up, like for the Frenchie, you can always like put the pom-pom hat over the ears or put the ears under it and then have it closed, so it would be just a miniature version of the human head. All right, let's do this. As I said before, we start with the red yarn. We need a total of 20 stitches for the red yarn, and then change the color to white and then go back and forth like in a previous tutorial with the very simple stitch. So we start with a slip knot. Usually how I do it, I just wrap the yarn around my finger. So I have the loop here, and then go in between this loop, grab the yarn and pull it. So you have this first loop. You can place your crochet hook in it and pull it tight. So let's start with a chain of 20 stitches. So you yarn over and pull through, and this is stitch number 1. You yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So we have 20 stitches, so that the number in the end is correct. I just take out the 20th loop or the 20th stitch, and we are going to place now, or we are going to change now with the white. So this loop here on the hook is then in the end our 20th stitch, but you will see that in a bit. So next up we need the white. You don't do anything with it, you just keep it like this. Wrap it over the crochet hook and then pull through the 20th loop that was on your hook. You leave the end behind, and then we continue until we have 10 wide stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If it gets a bit loose here, you can gently pull on the yarn a little bit, but it won't show in the end. So this is basically our first round of 30 stitches, and now we are going back doing single crochets. And to start going back, we chain 1, and then we are going to work in the back loops only. You always have like this little V, and we always going to work into the back loops only. So you just made the chain 1, and then you go into the second stitch from your hook, which is right here. You put the hook in, yarn over, get the yarn through, and yarn over, go through, single crochet. Then into the next one, put the yarn in, yarn over, grab the yarn, yarn over, go through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through 2. We now made 3 single crochets, 7 more, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now we are at the 10th. And to change the color, you yarn over, pull through. You now have 2 white loops on your hook, and then we are going to change to red by pulling the red yarn in front and pull through with the red yarn. You can always like push it a little bit tight. And here we go, we have the 10 white loops. I'm just going to pull this a little bit to see where we are going. And as you can see, the yarn is a little bit twisted. You can find the right spot to start right here where you have like this V. And again, we are going in the back loops of the first red stitch, which is right here. It's a bit fiddly in the beginning, but I promise you this will get much easier the more we go on, and single crochet. Now the strand has turned, we see our little V's here, and then we continue the round with single crochets right till the end. So get the back loop, pull the yarn through, 2 loops on your hook, and yarn over and pull through. So this was the second. Now this is the third, then the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, seven, 8, 9, 10, and the last one, 20. And you just completed round number 1. So easy, right? And continue with round number 2. Again, we yarn over to create a chain, and then we go into that first or second loop from the hook, which is right here, only in the back loop, and we start with 20 red loops or 20 red stitches, 2, 3, 4. And for the last one, we do the same thing like we did before when changing the color. We yarn over in red, pull the yarn through, and then change to white, pull it over in front, and pull through both of those loops. Then always try to find this very first stitch right here to then continue with the second color. And we have the 10 stitches in white, ten single crochets, and also always watch out for this last stitch in the end, mainly because when we do the turning chain, this back loop here gets hidden, so always make sure to catch that. So this would be like the 10th stitch of the row. This is how it looks like. Now when you continue, you will find out that by switching the colors, the yarn gets tangled up. So you can either like turn your work, or what I mostly do is I just take the yarn and rotate it like this, and it's not tangled anymore. No matter how you do it, it's going to be all right. Just make sure to untangle it because it might get a pretty big mess. So we continue. We chain one, go into that second to last chain from the hook, and single crochet in the back loops, single crochet in the back loops. Since this project is a bit smaller or tinier than the big human pom-pom head, the rounds get much faster. You can also use a more chunkier yarn if you want to, then it would go even more fast, and you see some results pretty quickly. So we're at the changing point. I have one white loop left, and we yarn over, pull through, and then take the red yarn in front, pull it through to change the color. Again, the first loop here is a bit hidden, so make sure you grab it. And we continue with the 20 single crochets in red right till the end. Once we're there, I will then tell you how many rounds we have to do for the next step, and also how you can identify the rounds you made, which is pretty easy in this crochet pattern, because you always get like the structure with the ruffles, where you can always see which round you're in, and it helps for counting, because for the next step we are going to make the smaller height part for the lower border around the pom-pom head. Two more. As you can see here, it looks like that it's just one, this one here, but actually the last one is right down here. So always watch out. Here it is. The more rounds you do, the easier you find those hidden stitches. So this was round number 2, and when you turn your work, you see those 2 bumps here. So whenever you have like a bump like this, it means it's one round, one time from the red to the white, from the white and back. So let's check our sample. So basically we're somewhere here on the full length, and we are now making the front or the back panel, because they're basically the same, of the pom-pom head. We have to make 13 rounds, so 13 times from red to white, to from white to red and back, before we then go to the whole part for the ears. And you can press pause now, and I will meet you at round number 13, 1, 3, and we start round 3 with a chain, go into the back loop, and continue like this until we have our 13 rounds. feel free to pause this video, come back some other time, as soon as you have finished round 13. See you then. Welcome back. I just finished round number 13. This is how it looks like so far. Pretty cute. And now we're going to continue just with the white and then attach the red back to it. I'm going to show you in the swatch again. So we are basically here, this part, and as you can see from the top, it's still linked a bit. In total 8 stitches, and here we have 12 until we reach the opening. And so we continue by making this part here. Don't worry, it's like usually it's completely flat like this, but I attached it, or I crocheted it together at this part, so later on the flap won't flap on its own, basically, because I mean this is an accessory for dogs, and you don't want to have it flipped over the eyes, but in the end it's going to be completely flat. So we keep this space here, our 10 white stitches, for 5 rounds in total, until we then connect again with the red. So just make sure that you ended round 1 with the yarn on the same side like the yarn that you started. This makes it a bit easier also to always know when a round is over, so whenever you're back on this side, you know the round is over. And what we can do, we can already do the 8 stitches that later on get reconnected. So we chain 1 and then have 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we just leave it here, this loop. You pull it out a little bit so that it won't be able to unfold, because now we are going back to the white part only, and to do so we are going again in those back loops for 5 rounds, and in order to do so we are going to just flip the yarn over here so we get it from the back, and then take the back loop and pull through. And since this is not like a real a real single crochet, we are just continuing, and later on when we go back we then make a single crochet in it, and we can continue now with the next 9 single crochets, 8 left, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we go back, same way as before. We chain 1 and then make a single crochet in the second loop from our hook. Then we have the 10 single crochets. Nine. And as I said before, here's now this space where we couldn't do like a proper single crochet, so we are just going to stitch in here and have a single crochet, our 10th, and it basically won't show like this because anyway we are going back now to the border. So we chain 1 and then single crochet, and we do this for 5 rounds. So 1 round is completed, and so this one's here completed. Then the second one is almost there, and once you have those 5 bumps here, I'll meet you again. Press pause, and I'm going to fast forward the video. See you in a bit. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bumps. This is how it looks like now. And for the next step, you just want to make sure that you end with the white yarn right here, so that we can then come from the top part here and close it all the way down here to continue with our regular pattern, which will be exactly the same thing, just duplicated. In the end, you have like this piece doubled, and then the pom-pom dog head is almost finished. So we leave the white yarn now, just pull it out a bit, and then grab our red yarn again. So the white is 10 stitches. This part here that we did before was 8. So we need a total of 12 stitches to join with the white. And so to do this, we chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You see? So in order to keep the numbers straight, and since we always don't pull through this last stitch, we are going to take the last one out, put the yarn back in, and the next step would be to grab that white yarn and pull it through that last red loop, and then we can easily get back into our white and our 10 white single crochets again in the back loop, and this is how we connected it. Don't worry if it goes out a bit here, because once we go back, it will then connect easily like we did in the previous rounds. So let's go back and secure everything. So we chain one, then single crochet. We have our 10 in white. Eight, 9, and 10. So we get the 2 white loops on your hook, and then take the red yarn and pull through, and then we are continuing with the red yarn, single crochet. Here are all the stitches, the 20, and the first one again is a bit hidden underneath. It's right here, so you get that and single crochet, and then by that, if it was twisted, it's in the right direction now, and we do our 20 stitches in total, our 20 single crochets in red until we reach the end of the round, and then we have 13 full rounds, just exactly how we started, followed by 5 only white rounds, and then we have it. So now we're almost reconnected. One stitch left right here, and then we have those 8 that we did before, and just like that we created the hole for the ear without cutting the yarn, without stopping, which I prefer. Of course, you can always cut the yarn and start somewhere else, but personally I love it to continue projects on the go, and this is how the space for the ear looks like. Perfect. So we continue with 13 rounds like this before we then do the space for the second ear, and before we're at that point, I'll meet you back have fun, and see you at round number 31 in total, or once you finish those 13 rounds. One is already done. And don't forget to press pause, come back later once you have your 13 rounds. See you then. Okay then. I just finished the next 13 rounds on the full length, the red and the white, and this is how it looks like. The next thing we're going to do is to close the 8 stitches on the red, because once we've done that, our work with the red yarn is done. Everything else to finish it will be done in the white yarn, because we have to make this part here again here, or on the other side. I don't know which one is the right side. Yes, this one. So we have to make this here 5 more rounds and then close those off, and then almost the whole pom-pom dog head is done. So let's do this. Finish the red. We yarn over as if we would make another round. You turn your work like this, as you would have done it before. You go into that back loop, and then we're going to get the first side here and go through both of those loops. Take the yarn over, and then pull through all of the loops and make a single crochet again. And this we do in a total of 8 times. So in the back loop and here into the next 2 loops, take the yarn through, single crochet, then in the third, pull through, single crochet, number 4, 5, 6, 7, and that last one, pull through, and then we can cut the red yarn. We don't need it anymore. And to finish off, you just yarn over again, pull through, and pull it tight. You flip your work over so you have like the right direction of the work, and as you can see, it already looks like the pom-pom head, and both sides now have their hole. So now the only thing we have to do is to close the gap here, and we make this with 5 more rounds of the white, and then close it in the end. So like we did it the last time, we put the yarn up here, go into the back loop and get the yarn through. This serves now as our first single crochet, even though it's not a single crochet. And then we continue our way down to the border of the 10 white single crochets, always in the back loop, of course. And even when this is like round number 32, always watch out for that last stitch, which is a bit hidden. Then we chain one and turn, go back in those back loops, number 9, and we make the last one again in that single chain that we did there. We yarn over and turn our work, and you can press pause now, and I'll meet you there at the end of the 5th round, all in white, which is also round number 36 in total. So it's a much smaller project than the human pom-pom hat, so it goes much faster. And once you've done 1 or 2 hats, you're a pro, and it goes super fast. So I meet you at the end of round 36. See ya! Welcome back, and here we go. Round 36 is finished. This is how it looks like. And now the only thing we have to do is to close it. I'm going to flip the work over, it makes it a bit easier. And we do the exact same thing like we did it with the red. We chain one, and then we go into that first back loop, and here we go in those first 2. And what I'm going to do is also like to bring this piece of yarn over so we can sew it in directly, and we go through all of these loops and then single crochet. Once more, back loop into both of the next loops and have that piece of yarn from the beginning over it, and now it's got to be under it to work it in on the go. In the back loop, go through both and single crochet. You can always drag this a bit tight if you need to, but like this we can later on then just cut it off and we don't have to sew it in. And as we all know, I don't like sewing at all, so when I can avoid it by working in those yarn tails, I do that. In the back loop, 3 more, and then we have the head connected. Slip through. And the last one, put in here. And that's it. I'm going to cut off the end of the tail, because now it's worked in, and the hat is almost done. So we flip our work again. Perfect. Looks pretty. And now, as we did with the big pom-pom hat for humans, I'm going to put like a little border around the white part so that it won't be that bumpy and wavy. Because here for this hat, of course we have like a smaller height of the white. It will in the end basically be like this. So a little bit of additional height with the border definitely won't hurt, and it just cleans this roughly wavy border a little bit, and it looks a bit more finished. So let's make the border, and we do this the exact same way like for the big hat. We are going to alternate between single crochets and half double crochets, and I always go into that top loop on those outer parts and then a half double crochet into those spaces in between. The top ones sometimes are a bit hard to get because it's a bit tight, but you'll see them, you can see them clearly here and there, so that should do. So we start single crochet in the first one, and then half double crochet, we yarn over, we go into that space, yarn over, pull the yarn through. You now have 3 loops on your hook. You yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. Next up, single crochet, try to find that loop on top, single crochet, then another half double crochet, so we yarn over, go in the space here, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all of them. And this is how we continue until we went all around the border. And then our lower part of the pom-pom dog head is almost complete. And then the fun part starts. So if you want to, you can press pause right now, or write me a comment, or if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to my channel, because I am going to fast forward this. I think it's clear what to do, and I see you at the end of the border. Welcome back. So I have one half double crochet left the border, and I'm just going to close it in the first stitch of our border and just make a slip knot. We can now cut the white yarn off, and to secure it, just yarn over and pull the yarn through and pull it tight. Okay, so as you can see, it looks already like the pom-pom hat. And what we are now going to do, I'll show you in the swatch again, is to just simply add the straps to close it underneath the chin, and also to fix the border so that it won't flap and keeps in its place. And as you can see here, I just overlapped it and just stitched a few stitches in here and then continue with a chain. And this we do on both sides, always in the middle. And once we made this, we can then finish the bottom part. So I just throw it in here to like find the middle, which would be right here. I'm going to get the yarn, make a slip knot like in the beginning, like this. And now what we want to do is to like have it from the back to the front. So we are pulling it through, and then you can basically stitch in all of these stitches like this, then yarn over from the back. I know it's a bit tricky because you don't see it, but once you pulled up that loop, you can then crochet it in. So again, you go in and you just press it. It just finds a space where it can go. You yarn over and then pull it through and chain. Go in and slip knot. Pull it in, slip knot. And this last one, we don't have to do another one. We can just yarn over and chain. And now we are going to make a total of 75. A chain of 75 stitches. If it's 80 or 70, it's fine as well. Usually I make it a little bit longer because on Holly it always looks a bit cuter when this little bow under her chin is a bit longer. It doesn't have to be that accurate. You can just make it very easy because in the end it's just a strap. Now I lost count. Perfect. So I don't know, let me just count. Alright, 42. So a few more. 43, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. And cut it. And just pull the yarn through. Pull the hook through. And this is then the strap. I usually cut it off again in the end so that it's not that long. So this was one side, and then we make the same thing on the other side. Let's pick the middle, again a slip knot, pull it over the loop from the back, get the yarn, and then start letting your hook glide through and make a slip knot, and the next one, one more, and again the 75. 1, 72, 73, 74, 75. Woohoo! Cut the yarn, pull it through, pull it tight, stretch it out a little bit, always helps, and then cut it, and basically both straps are in place like this. Perfect. So now, before we go to the fun part, which is of course the pom-pom, and to finish the upper part, we would just sew in those yarn ends that we have. So you take the yarn needle and you go in between those loops, just like that. That should be all right. And you can always like push it a little bit through the yarn to really secure it, and then in the end you can just cut it off. And we have another one here from the strap. Do the exact same thing. We go in there, push it a little bit, and go back to secure it. Oh, I lost the yarn. Doesn't matter. Can always get it back. And this was this. Then we switch to the other side. Here we only have this one. And let's go in here. And once more, right back through it. And just like that. The lower part is done. You can now also close it here. Make a bow. So it's just secured. Okay. So now comes the fun part. We are going to put the top part together to create the peak of the pom-pom hat. And then we just have the pom-pom left, and our pom-pom dog head is finished. So we take a bit of our white yarn, cut it off, and then we take the yarn needle, and what we now want to do is to go into those top loops here, through all of them, and just weave the white piece of yarn in. It's very simple like this, but also very effective. And when you use the white yarn to do this, in combination with the white pom-pom, you later on don't have to sew in any ends, because the leftovers from this white yarn then gets part of the pom-pom itself. So you just secure the pom-pom and you're good to go, or your dog is. This was the last one. Pull the yarn through. You can release So now the only thing, or the fun part, starts. You just pull on those two ends to bring it all in. You make a knot as tight as you can. And another one, just to be sure. To close it. And now you very simply created that peak. And again, it looks like underwear, I know. Nice package, by the way, but it's not. And before I forgot, you might have noticed that there were also some red yarn ends. We just sew them in quickly. Just going through, and it's completely fine to like pull it all the way to our inner peak, and then take those two, make a knot, a double knot and a triple knot, just to be sure. And since this is the peak that is not visible on the front, I won't sew it in. I just cut it. That shall do. And the dog won't be affected by it as well. So here's the almost finished pom-pom hat. What we are going to do now is the pom-pom. Alright, you know what's next. Pom-pom baby. That's right, it's time for the big finale, the pom-pom. Or, as I kept singing in my head, it's pom-pom time, and I'm back with a pom-pom rhyme, so get up. Yes, we do get up. I stopped the singing. I take my pom-pom maker. As I mentioned before, you can always do the pom-pom with the toilet paper tubes. And if you don't know how to do it, check out the previous video with the pom-pom hat for humans. But for this tutorial, I'm going to use this pom-pom maker. Before we do, let's prepare a little step. I'm going to put those two yarn ends to the inside of our hat, because then later on I can attach the pom-pom better to our hat, just like this. And later on we are going to put the ends of the pom-pom in there too and make a knot from the inside, so you don't have to like sew any ends in, and can secure your pom-pom nice and safe. So to start the pom-pom, I'm getting my white yarn, I'm getting the pom-pom maker, and it's actually quite easy. I mean, if you don't have a pom-pom maker and you don't want to do it with toilet paper tubes, but it's quite fun actually, you can always use a fork. Some people also use their hands or their fingers like this and wrap it around, I don't know, 200 times or more. But let's just do it with the pom-pom maker. And you hold the yarn and then you start wrapping the yarn around. I'm not counting, I just go by feeling and wrap it around a few times, so I get like a nice and thick pom-pom. And I just make sure that I go around with the yarn as much as I can. Once I went over the beginning part, I can then let it go. And don't worry if it gets too voluminous. The more volume you get in the pom-pom, the better they look, in my opinion. And that's the fun part anyway, so always go with the fun. And we'll see, you can always check how much you already have. I mean, if you touch it a bit like this, you get a good feeling of the thickness. And I'm just going to add a few more. And I also have enough of the white yarn left, so go big or go home. I think that will do. It's quite big, but that's perfectly fine. And I'm going to cut myself a little bit of extra yarn. I'm going to push this a little bit forward because now I want to place the yarn right in there, and then from this side here as well, and make a knot. And then I'm going to pull it over. Ugh, that's a lot of yarn. And here we go. And I'm going to pull it as tight as I can, and then oops, move over to the other side, trying to find the spot here and secure it with another knot. And I make it double again and triple. And this is how it looks like right now. And you know what happens next? Let's do some cooking. I just take a glass bowl, or you can take whatever bowl you like, because it might get a little bit messy. I mean, this yarn isn't that super fluffy, so the mess won't probably be that big. But anyway, when we cut it, it's always good when all the cut-offs and the leftovers then fall directly into the bowl and you can put it in the trash. When I'm not in front of the camera, I'm actually over um, the trash bin and do it there, so everything I don't need fall into the trash directly. So we are starting getting our scissors into this big bowl here and start cutting those loops just like this. Don't worry if you don't grab them all at once. It's kind of impossible. And once you've done the one side, then we can switch to the other side. I could do this all day, to be honest. It's like therapy, and it's so soothing. ASMR crochet, basically. Let's see, maybe I get a few more. Oh, that's it. And this is our pom-pom. I've just seen some loops here. You can also go in a little bit and cut them. And right now the pom-pom doesn't look that round. So we then start to trim it until we reach the form like we want to have it. Those lower strands of yarn are always a bit long, but like this we can cut them in shape, just like in the hair salon. our little pom-pom. It looks like a snowball. If you then in the end feel like there are some few strands that are sticking out too much, you can always later on cut them off. But for now I leave it like this. And now the very last step is to attach the pom-pom to our hat, and we do this very easily. We take the two yarn strands and put them in. This way. And now those two are from the pom-pom, and this one here, I'll just cut it off a bit, it's too long, are from the part where we like put the upper part of the pom-pom head together, and we just tie it up twice, 3 times, and we are going to take those pieces back to the outside, because since it is all white yarn, we can always make them a part of the pom-pom, and take them through just like this, and we can then cut them off in about the length of all the other strands, and ta-da, it's done. And here you can see what I meant before, when you then out of the sudden some of those strands of yarn come peeking out, destroying the vision of the perfectly round pom-pom. You can easily give it another trim, this one here, and you're done. You just made, I'm going to open this, it's a bit tight. So here we go, all done. And your pup is ready for its very first Christmas pom-pom dog hat. Let's see what Holly has to say about this. Uh-oh. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed making this Christmas pom-pom dog hat with me. Holly got used to it already. The face says otherwise, as always. Isn't she just super cute? So cute. Huh? We hope to see you again next time. Oh, only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. Bye.